What happens when you learn on live television that your 17-year relationship was never legally recognized? Wait, stop the tape. Stop. Dr. Phil lifted his hand, halting the entire studio mid-conversation. The couple on stage looked confused. The audience went quiet. What had just been mentioned couldn't be ignored, and what Dr. Phil was about to do next would shift the entire tone of the show. No one, not the staff, not the crew, not even the couple, was ready for what followed. Just 30 minutes earlier, Tom and Rebecca Martinez had walked onto the Dr. Phil stage thinking they were dealing with a basic marital issue. They had been together 17 years, were raising 2 teenagers, own a home outside Atlanta, and were struggling with communication. A typical case for daytime TV. Rebecca smiled nervously as she sat in the curved beige chair. Tom sat beside her, turning his wedding ring, the same one he had worn for nearly 2 decades. They seemed like many couples seeking help, tired, stressed, but trying. Dr. Phil opened with his usual question. So tell me, what brings you here today? Rebecca answered first. We care about each other, Dr. Phil, but we can't seem to agree on anything anymore. We argue constantly. Tom nodded. It feels like we're roommates, not partners. I want to fix this before things get worse. But something in their intake paperwork didn't match, and Dr. Phil was preparing to ask a question that would pause the entire show. The first 20 minutes went smoothly. Dr. Phil reviewed their relationship history, how they met at a college party in 2008, moved in together 6 months later, had their first child 2 years after that. And when did you get married? He asked, looking at his notes. Oh, we had a beautiful ceremony in 2009, Rebecca said. It was in my parents' backyard. About how many people came? Roughly 50. And who performed the ceremony? Dr. Phil's tone shifted, just enough to alert the control room. Tom answered. It was Rebecca's uncle. He's a pastor, or we thought so. Dr. Phil leaned forward. Did your uncle file the marriage license with the county? The couple exchanged a worried look. Rebecca's smile faded. I thought he did. He said he would handle the paperwork. Did you ever receive a marriage certificate? Dr. Phil asked, still calm. Tom's face lost color. We never got one. We assumed it was in our files somewhere. We never checked. Dr. Phil paused. The room went silent. Stop the tape. He stood, raising his hand. The cameras kept rolling, but production froze. I need to speak with my producers. Immediately, the audience gasped. In 21 seasons, Dr. Phil had never paused a taping like this. Rebecca's hands trembled. Tom looked unwell. Dr. Phil stepped off stage to the production area. Give me their county records. Everything, marriage licenses, property deeds, tax returns. I need the legal status of this relationship before we continue. Off camera, he made a decision no one expected. For 8 minutes, the studio waited, quiet, tense, unsure. The couple stayed on stage. The audience whispered. Cameras stayed focused, recording every moment. When Dr. Phil returned, he carried a manila envelope. His expression was different, less clinical, more concerned. He sat down slowly. Tom, Rebecca, I need you to listen carefully. Rebecca swallowed. What's wrong? I asked my team to pull your county records. He opened the envelope. According to the state of Georgia, there is no record of a marriage license ever being filed for Tom and Rebecca Martinez in 2009 or any year after. The words hung in the air. Tom whispered, What does that mean? Dr. Phil continued, It means that legally, you two have never been married. Your ceremony was meaningful, but without the legal paperwork, it isn't recognized by the state. Rebecca covered her mouth as tears began to fall. But we have kids. We have a house. We file taxes together. That's what we need to discuss, Dr. Phil replied gently. Your mortgage is only under Tom's name. Your tax returns have been filed incorrectly for 17 years. And legally, Rebecca, you have no automatic rights to Tom's assets, insurance, retirement accounts, anything. The audience stood, shocked. Tom looked devastated. How is this possible? How didn't we know? You assumed the paperwork was handled, Dr. Phil explained. And because for 17 years, you lived like a married couple. You raised children, built a home, and committed to each other. In your hearts, you are married, but the state does not recognize it. Rebecca choked out. Does this mean we're not even a real family? Dr. Phil moved his chair directly in front of them, breaking the usual setup. He held both of their hands. Listen to me. You are a real family. What you have built is real. Your love is real. Your children are real. Your commitment is real. He paused. But right now, there is a legal issue that must be corrected for you and for your children. Tom asked softly, "What do we do?" Dr. Phil turned to the audience. "May we have complete silence, please?" The room quieted instantly. He pulled a business card from his pocket. "This is the best family law attorney in Atlanta. My team is calling him right now. You will have an emergency appointment this week." Rebecca whispered, "We can't afford." "It's taken care of," Dr. Phil said firmly. "The show is covering all legal fees. You will get legally married retroactively if Georgia's common law provisions apply. You'll protect your children's inheritance rights and correct every document that needs fixing." The audience applauded, but Dr. Phil motioned for quiet. "There's something else we need to discuss," he said, turning to Tom. "Tom, do you understand that for 17 years, Rebecca has had no legal protections? If something happened to you, she wouldn't have the right to make medical decisions. She wouldn't automatically inherit anything. She could have been left with nothing." Tom broke down. "Rebecca, I'm so sorry. I didn't know." "Neither of us did," she whispered. Dr. Phil reached into the envelope again and pulled out a photograph, their wedding picture from 2009. Production had taken it from their intake files. "Look at this," he said, holding it up. "This is you 17 years ago. Young, hopeful, believing you were entering a legal marriage." He placed the photo on the table. "That belief doesn't make you foolish. It makes you human. You trusted someone to file the paperwork. That didn't happen, but you didn't fail each other." Rebecca picked up the photo with shaking hands. "We look so happy." "You were," Dr. Phil said. "And you can be again. But happiness isn't enough when you have children. Security must be emotional and legal, and we're going to make sure you have both." He looked toward the producers. "Bring me the attorney's contact information and the Georgia Common Law Marriage Guidelines. I want everything prepared before they leave." The audience rose in a long-standing ovation. Dr. Phil let the couple take their time. For nearly 10 minutes, the show shifted from entertainment to something much more personal. This wasn't entertainment. It was a real human crisis unfolding in the moment. Once Rebecca gathered herself enough to speak, she looked at Dr. Phil with clear disbelief. "Why are you doing all this for us?" Dr. Phil answered without hesitation. "Because 17 years ago, someone should have protected you. Someone should have filed the right paperwork. They didn't. So I'm protecting you now." He stood and addressed the audience directly, completely breaking the usual format. "How many of you have ever assumed that something legal was handled correctly? A will, a property deed, a marriage license?" Dozens of hands went up. This is your reminder to check. Don't assume, verify. The people you care about deserve that protection. Share and subscribe so this message isn't forgotten. The show went to commercial, but the production cameras continued recording. During those 4 minutes, Dr. Phil sat with Tom and Rebecca and walked them through what would happen next. "Monday morning, you'll meet with the attorney. He will file for legal recognition of your marriage under Georgia's common law provisions. You've lived together 17 years, presented yourselves as a married couple, share finances, and have children. Georgia recognizes that." Tom typed notes into his phone, his hands still trembling. "And the house? The mortgage? We're adding Rebecca's name to the deed. We'll update your beneficiaries on all accounts. We'll refile your taxes if needed. Though in truth, the IRS likely won't question it since you filed jointly in good faith." Rebecca asked the question that mattered most. "And our kids, are they legally okay?" "Your children are fully and legally recognized as both of yours," Dr. Phil reassured her. "That has never been in doubt. But we need to secure their future. That means updated wills, healthcare directives, guardianship paperwork, the whole package." He handed them another card. "This is my estate planning attorney. She's expecting your call." When the show returned from commercial, something unusual happened. Dr. Phil didn't go back to his regular seat. He stayed across from Tom and Rebecca, keeping the conversation personal. "I want to tell both of you something before we finish today," he said, his voice softer than before. "What you're feeling, shock, fear, anger, maybe even embarrassment, is completely valid. But these feelings aren't the end of your story. Tom nodded silently. You came here thinking you had a communication issue. In reality, you have a legal issue that created emotional fallout. The positive news is that legal issues come with legal solutions. Rebecca wiped her eyes. Will we really be okay? You're going to be more than okay, Dr. Phil replied, smiling sincerely. Because now you'll have what you didn't before: legal protection, stability, peace of mind. He reached out and held both their hands. And in 6 months, I want you back here, legally married, fully protected, and ready to work on communication. The audience let out a warm laugh and applauded. As the episode ended, Dr. Phil did something he had never done. He personally walked Tom and Rebecca off stage, his arm around Rebecca's shoulders. The cameras followed them backstage, where the estate attorney and family law attorney already waited with documents. These are your people now, Dr. Phil told them. They'll fix this, and you're going to let them. Rebecca cried again, but this time from relief rather than fear. Thank you. Truly. Dr. Phil replied simply, go protect your family. 6 months later, the follow-up episode aired. Tom and Rebecca returned to the show, but they weren't the same couple. They were confident and at ease. Rebecca held up a document, their official Georgia marriage certificate, dated retroactively to acknowledge their 17-year common law marriage. Everything is done, Tom said, smiling. Every document updated, every account corrected. Our kid's future is secure. Dr. Phil grinned. And how's the communication now? Rebecca laughed. Much better when you're not worried about losing everything. The audience gave another standing ovation. But the real impact extended far beyond one couple. In the weeks after the broadcast, the show received over 47,000 messages from viewers who checked their own legal documents and found issues: missing marriage records, incorrectly filed deeds, outdated beneficiaries, old wills. Dr. Phil's team organized the most common problems into a legal checklist and posted it online. Within 3 months, it was downloaded 2.3 million times. The message that day wasn't just for Tom and Rebecca, it was for everyone. Love matters. Commitment matters. Family matters. But without legal structures to protect them, they remain at risk. Dr. Phil reminded millions that caring for the people you love requires more than emotional support. It requires legal preparedness. And sometimes it takes a moment of complete stillness, even on national television, to understand what truly protects a family. Not ceremonies or tradition, not even romance, but the security of proper legal documentation. The manila envelope, the business card, the signed forms, they all became symbols of something bigger. A reminder that real love is not only felt, but also safeguarded and secured for the future. Tom and Rebecca learned that lesson in a difficult way, but because Dr. Phil paused the taping that day, their future changed.